we got to start with Carolina. I mean, again, they've had their share of blowouts. We've seen them: Tennessee, Kentucky, Miami, Wake, Duke. But Sean, this one to your Pitt Panthers in Chapel Hill. I'm telling you, this is the most embarrassing one yet. And I think Carolina's NCAA tournament hopes are pretty much done.
Well, I wouldn't throw in the towel yet, Jeff, but let's tip our cap to the Panthers. They're riding the euphoria of the Aaron Donald Super Bowl victory. They've now won 3 in a row. And, in a season where not a lot's gone right for Pitt, they've had to overcome just about everything. In the month of February, tonight, they secured, no doubt, their best overall victory of the season. So it's not easy to coach and get into that mid-February period of time and actually maybe play your best basketball. But, North Carolina, as long as the two stats on defense remain the same, and this is something we talked about as far back as 8 weeks ago, they're just going to be vulnerable, Jeff. And that is when you don't defend a three-point shot. And tonight, Arch, Pitt made what from three?
They were 10 for 17, shot 59%.
And that's not Pitt's strength, but you give up 10 threes. I don't care the name of your team. You're vulnerable. And then North Carolina forces no turnovers. They don't get steals and blocks like they used to. So, teams pretty much are not going to turn it over, right? They're not going to give them any offense by giving them loud turnovers. And they make threes against North Carolina's defense. And really, any team that feels those two things can get comfortable. And tonight, Pitt got comfortable. And you know what? They rallied at the end, but that game wasn't close. I mean, at halftime, the deficit was almost 20. And throughout the second half, I don't think Pitt ever relinquished the lead. So no doubt about it. I think defensively, it still plagues North Carolina from maybe being the best that they can be.
Arch, I mean, listen, they were 0-7 in quad one games. So you knew they couldn't beat any really good teams, but at least they were beating up on the quad twos, quad threes, quad fours. I think Pitt was 179 coming into the game. What's that, a quad 4 right now at home?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So now you can't even use that as kind of okay, you know what? They beat everybody they should beat. I get they didn't. Now they haven't done that. I just feel like, again, to me, you can put all the excuses out there. They don't have Dawson Garcia. It's Hubert, first year, all of this stuff. I don't know, man. I just think we're making excuses for them. They've got enough talent. Everybody would take Armando Bacot on their team. Almost anybody in America would start Bacot and Love on their team. Would they not?
No, without doubt. North Carolina has some pieces. They're talented. I mean, Armando Bacot arguably could be ACC Player of the Year, when you get down to it. And Love and RJ Davis, two highly recruited, young guards. They are missing Dawson Garcia. That was a tough blow for Dawson, going home to see his family at this time. And it really makes their front court vulnerable and thin. Leaky Black has to play some 4, and he's not really a great 3-point shooter. But that being said, North Carolina's MO, all year, regardless of who they're playing, they've been pretty dominant at home. In the Dean Dome, in the Smith Center, they've put up some big wins by big margins. So I think to be down by 17 at half, to be down by 20 plus in the game, it's odd. But when you look at it, they have a weak spot. Defending the three has been a problem for them. They've given up almost 10 made threes in their losses. They gave up 10 tonight at Pitt at home. But I think the thing that was very startling tonight was Armando Bacot took 6 shots. He's the ACC Player of the Year. He's a double-double machine. And in 26 minutes tonight with some foul trouble in the second half, their best player only took 6 shots. So there's something's off with North Carolina tonight. But they're in a situation now where they're going on the road to Virginia Tech. They have Louisville at home, at State, Syracuse at home, and then at Duke. They alternate home and road, but they're almost in play-in situations right now. They don't have any more room for error. And to win out may still not be enough as you head into the ACC tournament. But they're in a situation now where every game they play is arguably a play-in game. So they're going to have to play with some urgency here these next couple weeks.
You know, Jeff, the one thing about playing at a place like North Carolina, if you're a player, you're a coach, look, you were one of those iconic programs, right? And that's your competitive advantage, especially in recruiting. But know this, no matter who plays North Carolina, if that isn't their biggest game on their schedule, it's one of them. They're getting everybody's best shot. And right now, if you just kind of watch their team, you know, Villanova gets everybody's best shot, right? You were just at the game. They got the best crowd. They get the hostile environment. They get the team most amped up. You know, that pink out, they pick a game to have that pink out at Providence. What game do they choose when Villanova comes to town? But Villanova, like they're like steel. They're just hardened, and they're accustomed to taking everybody's best shot. When Villanova came to play UCLA in LA, Jeff, and you were at the game in November, that was like the best crowd at Poly Pavilion in a long, long time. They took LA's best shot. They took UCLA's best shot. Carolina's the same. And those players, and right now, like if you don't adjust to that, you're vulnerable, especially when you give up that many threes, that percentage from three, and you do not force any turnovers with your defense. And really, I think that's part of the path that they're living right now.
So I've said this. I said this when Hubert got hired, and he was handpicked by Roy Williams. Okay, so there was nothing Bubba Cunningham, their AD, could do. You know, just like obviously we saw Kay handpick Shire, Hubert was handpicked by Roy. I thought it should have been Wes Miller. I felt like Wes had experience. He knew kind of the recruiting game a little bit, you know, and Hubert honestly validated to me the fact that I didn't think he was the right call when he put his staff together. We've talked about this. Jeff Lebo, I thought was a terrible, terrible pick on the road. If he had made him a special assistant to the head coach, I would have been fine with it. You know, Sean May, never been on the road, never coached on the floor before this year. Lebo had been gone for a while, had no success at Auburn or East Carolina or even Chattanooga. He never got in the tournament in all his years of head coaching. Brad Frederick's been a good assistant, solid assistant for his career. So many Carolina fans right now, right now, are saying to themselves, do we have the wrong guy? Can we, I mean, I've gotten it tonight. Do we make a move after 1 year? I've said there's no way in hell they make a move after 1 year with one of their own, with a guy that was handpicked by Roy Williams. But how long do you give him, guys? If they don't go to the tournament 2 straight years, there's no way Hubert Davis gets a third, is there? Sean?
You're giving me that question, huh? I appreciate it.
I know. Well, listen, I know you guys are coaches. I know you don't want to talk about it. I get it. And I'll be the bad guy here.
Hey, Jeff, look, it's too early to judge, Hubert Davis, in all due respect to, I mean, you got to give him the opportunity to recruit. And look, anytime you go through something for the first time, you learn, and you learn from your success, you learn from your failure. A lot of times you adjust, you adapt, and you come back and you're better than ever before. But I think like in those types of programs, when change happens, there's just an immense amount of pressure. I was that guy when I came to Arizona in 2009. And although a lot had happened previous to me showing up, if in year 2 we struggled, who knows, I may have gotten sent this direction a long, long time ago. But Derek Williams showed up, Solomon Hill showed up, Momo Jones showed up, a couple players that were in our program. Arch was there. They developed. Kyle Fogg, right? And next thing you know, you make a run deep into the tournament, both feet are on the ground, and then you can really take a deep breath and move forward. And I think that everybody has to give, this year it's Hubert Davis, next year it's Jonathan Shire. And I think that those guys will be fine. But, the one thing I think as a coach, you always want to see is what's their identity. If you watch, let's use Gonzaga as the example. What's so impressive is faces change. One season becomes the next, but it's like efficient, fast break basketball, up tempo, pressure man to man, 3/4 court press. And then it's just, you watch it, the faces and names change. and that's the Zags. That's the way they play. And I think for a long, long time, we've all become accustomed to watching Carolina be that same team. It's named the Carolina break. Push on makes and misses, right? Using defense to create offense, going inside, killing you on the offensive glass. That identity changed from a year ago till now, right? They're not that same offensive rebounding team. They're trying to play a little bit more skilled, and with that adjustment, it's going to take a little bit more time, but eventually, we're going to all have to see that identity, and I'm sure we will.
Yeah, I think you got to give them at least 2 years. I mean, I've always said with most coaches, you want to give them a full recruiting cycle. You want to give them 4 years, but at places like Carolina, that rule may not apply. And again, it's not like Hubert wasn't on staff previously. That's the other thing. You're not bringing in a brand new guy like both of you came in at Arizona and Indiana with nobody else. Hubert has been there, so I'm not sure he needs 4. But I would say there's no way you make a move after 1. That is completely unfair to, again, one of the better human beings in this business.